Okay, hello everyone. My name is Elizabeth Appleton, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my experience this year in Honors Mentorship. Honors Mentorship is a program through the school where students get to go out and they get to explore careers that don't involve their career pathway. So I'm in the marketing career pathway, but I had the opportunity to step outside of that and explore something else that I was interested in. So this year, I actually shadowed a pharmacist, Bethelview Pharmacy. So just to kind of start talking. Okay, so about me, so here we are. This is Mike Patel, who owns Bethelview Pharmacy, and obviously me. So just a little bit of background. I'm obviously involved, if you don't know, in DECA here at the school. But for this opportunity, I have always had a passion for others, caring for others, and so medical industry has always been kind of an interest of mine. So I wanted to find something where I could take both of my passions and kind of combine them together. So working at a pharmacy, I was able to have more interaction with customers versus being in a doctor's office where it's much more confidential. So I was able to have much more interaction with patients. And I also had the privilege to work with the marketing director of the pharmacy with their social media and contacting local physicians and stuff like that. But this whole project is a research-based project. So from the beginning, I had to come up with a question. What do I want to learn from this? What do I want to know? So walking in the first day, I was like, I don't know. What do I want to know? Like, I have no idea. And this is so weird, but it made my question. Literally, I walked in on my first day and I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go. And there's this normal guy who's always in the pharmacy. He comes in literally every Thursday I'm there. And for this sake, we're gonna call him Scott, okay? So Scott walks in and he asked Mr. Mike, how's the business? And Mr. Mike said, it's going, it's evolving, that's for sure. And so I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I was like, so where's this going? So this became my essential question. How can developing technology in the pharmaceutical industry lead to medical advancements that can be applied by future leaders in the medical field, such as myself? So starting this whole process, I had to say, what do I know? What do I already know? Well, obviously the medical field is constantly changing. There's technology now. It's constantly evolving. So that's one thing I did know, is that people are always working in the industry to make it better. How can we cure diseases better? So this was my research process. So I actually had to host an interview with the pharmacist over my question. I had to ask him about questions, and I'll give you some insight on that. And then I had to find 3 sources in order to get my research complete. So my interview, so I'm just going to hint on 3 main questions that helped shape my conclusion. So the first one was, what is one area in medicine you feel is lacking in technology? In his response, he said, I'm sure many others would love to see growth in the treatments for cancer. This means a lot to me. I have a lot of customers who have experienced the tragedy and exhausting monster that cancer can become. It breaks my heart to see families down, and I know that there has to be a way to solve that. Personally, I really enjoy the research side of medicine, so I'm excited to see where the future of prescriptions and other medical treatments will go and how they will help others. And then the next one was, do you think it's necessary to continue to improve medicine, or is there enough technology to get by? And he said, oh, 100%. There's always room for improvement in furthering technology. I don't know what this will mean looking into the near or even far future, but there will be improvements. What is interesting is, where will the line be drawn? What becomes morally incorrect? There is a substantial amount of technology and the discoveries to get by, but no doubt the industry is always evolving. And then the last one, where do you see the pharmaceutical field in 5 years, 10 years, even 20 years? He said, this is a really interesting question because honestly it's hard to say. With the technology today and the way our society is beginning to run, it could change the entire channel by which medicine is received. For example, Amazon just bought out PillPack, an online prescription service. Maybe that will become the new way. The only way the privately owned pharmacy industry will survive will be because of the lasting personal relationships. Once again, that's the key. So from the interview, I kind of gained an interesting insight on, well, he made a point throughout, like, where are freestanding pharmacies going? Because if big companies like Amazon are buying out these prescription companies, like it's gonna be, everything now is it's door-to-door service. So he was like, I don't know where, the pharmacies are gonna be. So then I had to find my sources. And so the first one, I'll give like a brief summary. So the first one was an article called Medicine and the Future of Health. And this was more of a financial focus on, it said IMS Health has predicted that global spending on pharmaceuticals will increase from 30% from 2015 to 2020. So that just kind of proves the point that, well, more money is going into this. They're investing in it because they see the possibilities that it can have. The second source was actually an excerpt from a book entitled The Future of Medicine, Avoiding a Medical Meltdown. And this was kind of a contrasting opinion, which I thought was kind of interesting. And it literally said that the author believes healthcare is headed for its own meltdown. He thinks that the clash of the old technology and the new technology is actually going to create almost like chaos. And the only way, he presented that the only way to fix it is because of the professionals, suppliers, care managers, and patients who have vital roles in play creating the momentum for change. So he's like, it's going to be the people, not the technology, which I thought was an interesting perspective. And then the last one, this kind of proves the point of how technology has evolved. So this focused on some European hospitals that have implemented different things to help change the way that they're serving their patients. So I'll point out this was interesting. Okay, so this hospital in France has become more efficient with forecasting the number of patients they will have, like patients coming into the hospital, due to analyzing weather patterns, past records, and weather conditions. So basically they have this system where they're forecasting how many people are going to come in based on like the weather and what they've seen in the past. And then from that, they're able to prepare so that they can efficiently serve that many people that they're expecting, which I thought was, that's kind of interesting. So then conclusion, so my year-long research has led me to conclude that the advancements in technology in the pharmaceutical world will have a significant effect on the future of the medical field. Before I began my research, I was confident that the more advancements, the better. But as I kind of started looking into it, maybe that's not true. Like maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's more conditionalized than I thought it was. Like technology, yeah, it's great, but maybe it's becoming where you're like they're starting to genetically modify things. So like, is that the best for the medical field? Who knows? And so overall, it was a huge privilege to have the opportunity to participate in this internship at Bethel View Pharmacy. I learned a lot, not only in the medical field and the perspective from that side, but also the marketing side. I was able to be exposed. And just to show you this quote, technology is the key driver for change in the future, which was in one of the documents. And so before I wrap up, I just want to point out, so another thing we did have to do was we had to take our sources and put them into annotated bibliographies in order to be able to sufficiently create claims and create how we were going to come to a conclusion. And then throughout the entire experience, I actually had to keep up with a blog. And so a lot of this was actually more on like the job side. So like, how are you interviewing? How are you interacting with customers? And so that's kind of what the blog consisted of. So that is pretty much my presentation. Are there any questions? No? Okay, well, thank you guys for listening.